What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. And today we are going to be taking a look at this new Halloween 4K collector set from Scream Factory, 1995 through 2002 edition, including the films Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. And yeah, we're going to dig straight into this box set. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I got a lot of stuff to cover. But before we get into it, guys, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, we talk about movies and physical media on this channel every single day. New Blu-ray and 4K reviews and announcements, unboxings, collection hauls, just tons of physical media content every single day. If you like that kind of stuff, you will enjoy this channel. So hit the subscribe button and then turn on the bell notifications for all future videos while you're at it. And then hit the like button on this video as well. And then, comment down below, guys. What do you think of this box set? What do you think of these three Halloween films? I feel like these are definitely the black sheep of the franchise, but I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. After the conclusion of the new Halloween trilogy, I feel like these three movies are going to be looked at a lot more fondly going forward. And then also the Rob Zombie movies as well, which a lot of people were disappointed didn't get included in this, box set as well, or just, put out in general. I wasn't really planning on getting this. I was planning on getting it, but I was trying to wait till the price lowered a little bit. Of course, there was that whole Walmart situation where it was on sale for 25 bucks and then we ordered it and then they canceled it. But that's a whole different thing. We're not going to talk about that here today. I made a whole video on that. It was very disappointing. But I was like, I don't know. This was $100. It's still $100. It's $104.99 right now. I don't know if I want to spend that kind of money for Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, and Resurrection, but Scream Factory called my bluff. They would not lower the price, and it was getting to the end of October, and I was like, I gotta watch Halloween in October. I cannot watch these movies in November, December, January. I just have to watch Halloween movies in October. I don't know. I can watch horror all year round, but Halloween, have to watch it in October. So against my better judgment, I went ahead and pulled the trigger on this. I was like, I'm going to binge watch these things. I'm going to review them for everybody right before Halloween. And yeah, hopefully you all enjoy that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like I said, we're going to dive deep into this box set, talking about the movies, my history with the movies, the transfers, the special features, just everything about this box set. I got a lot of stuff to say about this. And another thing I want to note, guys, is this isn't going to be a video. If you're looking for somebody to shit all over these movies and talk shit about them, this is not going to be that video. I have fond memories with these movies, every single one of them. Curse of Michael Myers used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. I've been a massive Halloween fan since I was like 11 years old when I first saw Halloween 4. That was the first Halloween movie I ever saw. So I've been a massive Halloween film fan my whole life. Curse of Michael Myers, I remember loving when I was a kid. I used to love H2O, grew up with that one. Resurrection is what it is, but I have fond memories of that one because that movie came out when I was 16. I saw in the theaters. It was my first Halloween movie I ever saw in theaters, and I actually drove myself to the theater to see that one with my friends. So I have fond memories of that because I just got my license. I drove to the theater, first Halloween film in the theater. The movie's not the best, but I remember having a good time with it. Bought it on DVD, rewatched it, but so I've got some thoughts on these movies. And it's mostly positive. We're going to try to keep this mostly positive. But again, my main issue with this is the fact that it is three films in a box set. You cannot buy these individually. That was a part of the Miramax Scream Factory agreement. So that's the reason why they're in a set together. You cannot buy these by themselves, at least not right now, unless you get on eBay or something and somebody's selling them. So that's the reason they're all together. It was a part of the agreement. Now, I don't know if that's going to change. Maybe if they sell a certain number of these, they'll let them do them individually after that. Now, I imagine if they do them individually after this box set, they probably will not have these hard shell slip covers. But again, that's just speculation on my part. So if you want the hard shell slip covers to match the ones that you bought last year with Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, you got to get this set. And I wish they would do these hard boxes with every single one of the Scream Factory 4Ks because they just look so good and they just feel so nice. But they've only done them with the Halloweens and then Elvira's Haunted Hills for some weird reason. They did that one randomly. So okay, so I'm trying to think, do I have anything else I want to talk about before I start diving into these videos? This video, guys, just to warn you, is gonna be all over the place because I've just got so much to say about these, and I didn't really write down any notes because, like I said, I've been watching these movies since I was a kid, so I pretty much know the movies, know my thoughts on them, but Also, like, I did rewatch them like a few years ago. There was a couple that I grew up loving, like Curse of Michael Myers and H2O, but right before Halloween 2018 came out, I rewatched all the movies. And when I rewatched Curse and H2O, I was like, these movies just didn't hit me like they did when I was younger. I actually didn't like them at all anymore when I rewatched them. So that was one of the reasons why I was kind of reluctant to get this, because like, I don't really like Curse or H2O anymore. Resurrection has always been terrible, but like I said, I've had fond memories of it. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about Curse of Michael Myers right here. So H2O and Resurrection are 2-disc sets. This is a 4-disc set right here because this does include the producer's cut. So this is really a 4-film collector's set because you do have the theatrical cut and the producer's cut. And man, I don't know, I guess I grew up with a theatrical cut and I saw the producer's cut more recently, I feel like, when I watched it last time because I bought the Blu-ray of it. And this only has the producer's cut on it, this one that came out. But I don't feel like I was familiar with the producer's cut growing up. So I think I've only seen it once, and that was a few years ago when I watched it. So because I always remember Jamie's character getting killed at the beginning of Curse of Michael Myers, and that's the big difference between the two. That and the fact that the producer's cut just brings in way more of the cult Thorn storyline, the whole like druid thing. They really lean into that. Whereas in the theatrical cut, they kind of, mess around with it a little bit. But they don't really lean as heavily into it as they do in the producer's cut, which kind of makes the theatrical cut feel a little disjointed because they keep going back and forth between what feels like a regular Halloween movie and then this like weird, like supernatural, like cult storyline. So the producer's cut does feel a little bit more well put together, well constructed, and well thought out, and just kind of seamless as far as the storytelling. And even though it's crazy and it goes in weird directions, it feels a little bit more cohesive as far as a narrative with the producer's cut. So, but I did watch both. I watched both on 4K, and they both look great. They really both look great. Like the 4K transfer on Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, I knew it would probably look fantastic. And it absolutely did. And like I said, guys, as we go, I'm going to be all over the place. We're going to be talking about the movies, the transfers, and all that kind of stuff. But they really look great. There's a lot of really dark scenes in this movie that look fantastic. Like I'm thinking in the beginning, when the nurse is helping Jamie get out of the hospital, and the first time you see Michael Myers, you can just see like right behind her, and there's like it's like black shadow behind her, like this like hallway. And then you just see the white mask come up and he just gets closer and closer and Michael reveals himself. It's a great scene. It's really creepy the way he walks up on her. But that looked fantastic. Just the contrast between the white mask and the black background. There's all kinds of stuff. There's just a lot of like blues and really cool colors in this film. A lot of great daytime scenes as well. Just kind of, this movie has a real like fall Halloween feel to it as well. Maybe one of the most Halloween feeling Halloween movies there is. And all that stuff looks great. All the daytime scenes look great, but there's really a lot of great looking nighttime scenes as well. And in the producer's cut, you get a lot of the cult stuff. So at the end, there's this whole like big altar scene with a bunch of candles, and the main actress in the movie, Marion Hagen, I forget her name in the movie. She's like kind of dressed up like the Florence Pugh in Midsummer. She's like has a white dress on and a flower crown. She's like surrounded by candles and druids and stuff. Paul Rudd's in the druid outfit. It's all ridiculous, but like I said, it's kind of the differences between the producer's cut and the theatrical cut are really significant. Like I did not know how significant they were until I watched both of them back to back like this. So the producer's cut looks great for the altar scenes at the end and all that stuff with the candles. All that stuff looks fantastic in 4K. I love how brutal Michael Myers is in this movie, though. Like in comparison to some of the other films in the franchise, like Michael Myers is a savage in The Curse of Michael Myers. And I will still say that the mask in this movie is one of the best of the franchise. I think that is a great mask for sure. So George P. Wilbur actually plays Michael Myers in this movie, and that's the same guy that played him in Halloween 4. So you got him back for this movie, and I think that's one of the best Michael Myers portrayals in my opinion. And he's just brutal. He's just mean. Like that when that woman's out there, clawing around on the ground, she loses her glasses, she looks up and he just swipes at her and the blood goes all over the laundry, the sheets and stuff. All that stuff looks fantastic. So he's just brutal in this one. He's killing people left and right in extremely brutal ways. So Michael Myers is fantastic in this one. Where the movie fails for me, and I hate to say it because I love him. I love Paul Rudd so much, but he is just so bad in this movie. And it's the same year he did Clueless, and he was fantastic in Clueless. So I don't know if it's, I have to blame it on the directing. Joe Chappelle directed this film. And I don't know, how he directed Paul Rudd, if he directed him to be like just super weird. Like Paul Rudd's almost creepier than Michael Myers in this movie with the way that he acts. Like when you first see him, he's like filming a girl undressing across the street. Like that's creepy. Like what was he doing? I still don't get what he was doing. He was just spying on her because she was a Strode, and he was just felt like that was his responsibility to do that. But it's just kind of disgusting. So yeah, Paul Rudd in this movie, I hate him as Tommy Doyle. You do also get Loomis. Donald Pleasence is in this movie, and it is, kind of cool to see him kind of giving his last breath as the Dr. Loomis. He's definitely a little bit more older. He's more wary in this one. He's kind of raspy with his voice. But look, I enjoy this movie overall. I think I enjoy it. I think I have a little bit more of an appreciation for it now that I've rewatched it and rewatched both the theatrical cut and the producer's cut. I do like Michael a lot in this movie, and I do think that it's a pretty solid slasher Halloween film. I definitely don't think it deserves the 9% that it has on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's the only Halloween film I think to have below a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's crazy when you think about this being in the same franchise as Resurrection, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and some of the other films that the critics don't look too fondly upon. But Halloween Curse of Michael Myers actually has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score. But yeah, Transfer was fantastic with this one. And most of the special features in this release are just from the previous Blu-ray from back in 2014 by Scream Factory, because they're all presented by Scream Factory. So I imagine they're the same special features that they did back in 2014. But you get a really cool interview with Danielle Harris talking about how she didn't get to play Jamie in this one. It's kind of the story and the events that led to that not happening, to her not coming back to the character of Jamie in this one, and actress J.C. Brandy taking over. So that's a really interesting interview with her. And you also got some other great interviews with the makeup effects artists and stuff like that. So this was all pretty cool to me because I didn't get that 2014 Blu-ray set. That big box set release that came out. So these were all new special features for me. So that was kind of cool. I've only owned this Blu-ray producer's cut right here, and I don't think this has anything on it. You also get a new commentary on the theatrical cut by Daniel Farrens and actress Marion Hagen. And you get the old commentary with Daniel Farrens and composer Alan Hayworth for the producer's cut. So I listened to part of the commentary on the producer's cut. I didn't listen to the theatrical cut, the new commentary. But the producer's cut was pretty interesting because they were talking about all this stuff and all the differences between the theatrical cut and the producer's cut, and just the decisions that were being made, and just talking about how they wish they could have done things differently. But they did the best they could for what they had to work with, I guess. But Curse of Michael Myers, this is a solid release. I really enjoy watching this. It is cool that they did include the producer's cut in 4K, even though that probably inflated the cost of this box set. Now let's talk about H2O. Like I said, I've got a shirt of H2O on right here. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of this movie. This movie to me is Scream with Michael Myers. Like, that is what H2O is. They were clearly inspired by Scream when making this. I'm pretty sure Kevin Williamson is a producer on this movie who wrote Scream. So that should tell you all you need to know about this movie. It is, cool what they were trying to do. They saw that, the franchise wasn't going in the right direction. This stuff they were doing with Michael Myers with the whole Druid cult thing was not working. So they didn't want to continue from that storyline. They wanted to reboot everything, get rid of 4, 5, and 6, and just pick up from part 2, which, to be honest, is the right place to pick up from. I'm looking at you, new David Gordon Green Blumhouse trilogy. But look, Halloween H2O is a movie that I absolutely loved as a kid. I used to watch this one all the time, and I think the reason for that is I just like these kind of movies. I like Scream. I like the Urban Legend. I love The Faculty, which also had Josh Hartnett, who's in this movie as well. I was a big fan of his when I was a kid. So I always watched this movie with fondness. But again, I didn't realize when I was a kid, I was like, this is not a Halloween movie. This is Scream with Michael Myers. Like, that is what this is. Even though it's telling a good Halloween story, it's telling a good story about the continuation of Laurie Strode's character, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and it's a good story. 20 years later, she's hiding. She's got a secret identity. She's a teacher. She's a headmistress of like some private school in California. Again, it's set in California, so that's another thing about the movie. It still has a fall feeling to it, but I think it's is it the only Halloween movie that's not set in Haddonfield? I'm pretty sure it is. So again, it's the only Halloween movie not set in Haddonfield, and it just doesn't have that small town vibe that the other ones do. But it does have a fall feel to it, I will say. But I do like this movie, and I will say after watching it in 4K last night, I'll say I gained a greater appreciation for it. It's still Scream with Michael Myers. That's what it is. Right down to the beginning, like the cold open in the beginning with that, God, who's in the opening of this movie? Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was like, God, it's a big actor. I'm freaking blanking on his name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this movie. He's in the opening of this film. It's kind of a cold open. It's just like Scream with Drew Barrymore. It's like you introduce a big actor, you take him out right from the beginning of the movie. So again, right there, it feels like Scream. That's not the way a Halloween movie opens. Like Michael Myers can kill people in the first 15 minutes, but you open with the credits, you open with the title, whereas this movie has a whole 15-minute long scene at the beginning, or 10 minutes, or whatever it is, and then it goes into the credits. So every single thing about this movie, the DNA of Scream is there. It just screams Scream as far as a movie. But some things I do like about it, and I picked up on it last night. Again, it does tell a really good story. I think it handles the traumatic PTSD of Laurie Strode, of Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, very well. And it's very realistic, unlike the newer films that came out in the Blumhouse trilogy, whereas Laurie Strode only went through 3 deaths, the deaths of 3 of her friends. And she's just like holed up like Sarah Connor, like shooting targets and stuff like that. That to me is not realistic at all. But her having this, traumatic experience happen to her with both Halloween 1 and 2 in mind, and then coming out like this character in this movie, like she's still functioning, like she's still able to be in a relationship. She's still able to hold down a regular job, to have like normal relationships, but she's also like really struggling. She's an alcoholic, like she's taking pills, but she's able to function relatively normal as a human being. She's not a complete psychopath. She's not like completely off the rails. She's just a little mentally unstable, messed up. She has night terrors and stuff like that. All that stuff is very realistic. So I think they portray her PTSD a lot more realistically than they do in the newer films, which is something I do appreciate about this movie. The acting in this movie also, I think, is really incredible, because you have incredible actors and actresses in this movie. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, you even have her mom, Janet Leigh, in the film. But Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams are great actors. I wish that Josh Hartnett would have got an opportunity to do more stuff, because I feel like he is that caliber of actor. He just never really got his big role. Like, obviously he's had roles and stuff, but not like his big shining role, I feel like. But Michelle Williams, I mean, she's Oscar nominated, I'm pretty sure, and she's a terrific actress. And I think that having such great performers and actors and actresses is something that the Halloween franchise never really had up until this point. And I mean, because Jamie Lee Curtis, like, I love her in the first Halloween movie, but she wasn't the best actress back in 1978. She had grown into a really good actress by the time we got this movie. So you got a lot of incredible performances. Even LL Cool J is doing a really good job in this movie as well. So you got some really great performances in this movie. You also have Alan Parrish from Jumanji in the film as well. So I do appreciate it for that. I just don't know if that makes a great Halloween movie. But it does kind of up the credibility of this film a little bit. It does make some of these moments in the film a little bit more impactful, because you feel the emotional weight through the performances of the characters. So I have to give it the credit for that. Michael Myers in this movie is bad. I'll just say right there, he's bad. The mask is ridiculous. Like, it's not even on his head all the way half the time. It changes back and forth because they didn't know. I guess they were changing the mask back and forth, so he's clearly like wearing a different mask in some scenes, like when he's on the ground. So it's completely ridiculous in that respect. It's a very tame Halloween film. Like, there's not a whole lot of kills, and when you do get the kills, they're just very tame feeling. Little throat slashes here and there. It's just not as brutal. Definitely not as brutal as Curse of Michael Myers. The finale of the movie, the moment where Jamie Lee Curtis, or Laurie Strode, grabs the axe and walks back in, she locks herself into the campus with Michael Myers. That is an awesome sequence. That's an awesome moment. Definitely one of the best moments of the Halloween franchise. I do think that I look back at this film a little bit more fondly now because the new trilogy kind of went off the rails and didn't deliver quite like I wanted it to, and I know everybody else wanted it to as well. So I think that this is a better finale for the character of Laurie Strode than the newer films. If you would have just left it at this one, but the fact that we have a resurrection after it kind of, you know, throws it off the rails a little bit, but I do like H2O. And what I will say about the transfer of this one is this was probably, not to spoil what I think about Resurrection, but this was probably the best looking of the 4Ks that I watched. Like, this looked amazing in 4K, absolutely amazing in 4K. The campus setting looked incredible, just a real like fall setting. You see the fall leaves falling down and everything, but the facial detail, like this was up there to me with the work that Sony did with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like that was incredible, and this was incredible as well. The facial detail, just the jackets, like the school jackets they were wearing, like the real like red maroon jackets, just really popped and stood out with the addition of that HDR and Dolby Vision, and it looked incredible. I cannot say enough good things about the transfer for this one. It was an awesome transfer. It would have been even more incredible if the mask of Michael Myers looked better because I feel like that mask, you know, with the addition of the HDR and the Dolby Vision, just the clear picture quality, it looked even worse than it did than I remember watching it back on VHS and DVD. And that's the thing with H2O and Resurrection. I haven't seen either one of those movies since I watched them on DVD. So getting to see them now in 4K was really incredible. But yeah, picture quality in this was stellar. It was better than Curse of Michael Myers and also better than Resurrection. I didn't expect H2O to look the best, but it absolutely did. Sound on all these are fantastic. I don't think I talked about the sound with Curse, but everything sounded great. Like you can hear everything so clear, like the clarity of the sound, just the overall like score and soundtrack, some of the moments. In particular with this one, because it does have that very Scream-like soundtrack to it, like right down to the soundtrack, guys. This is Scream with Michael Myers, I'm telling you. But like when it hits those like louder moments, you could really feel it. So I thought all these sounded incredible on my soundbar. You know, just with the 5.1 DTS HD, they didn't update it to Atmos or anything like that. So I don't know if anybody's gonna be upset by that, but I don't really think that these are movies that necessarily need Atmos to deliver. But overall, I would say I was pretty satisfied with the sound on all of these releases. This one does include a new 4K scan on the Blu-ray. All of these include 4K scans on the Blu-rays and the 4Ks themselves. So you do get the new 4K scan from the original camera negative, and you get an audio commentary with director Steve Miner and actress Jamie Lee Curtis, moderated by Sean Clark. So I actually listened to about 20 minutes of this commentary. I listened to like the last 20 minutes of the film because there's not a lot of dialogue. So I went ahead and threw that on while I was watching the final fight between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, because I was just interested in what Jamie Lee thought of this movie, kind of looking back on it. So that was really cool to hear. Also with the director, Steve Miner, I didn't go into it. See, I'm all over the place, guys. I didn't go into it, but Steve Miner actually directed Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. So it was cool they got him in here to come back and direct this movie. And yeah, like I said, new 4K scan on the Blu-ray. And you also get Blood is Thicker Than Water, the making of H2O. So a lot of people were complaining that this one didn't get any new special features, but again, like I said, that one came out with the 2014 Blu-ray. I never got that, so I've never got this Blood is Thicker Than Water, Making of Halloween H2O featurette, or not even featurette, but like full-length documentary. Like this thing's like an hour long, so that's an incredible special feature that I'm happy to own for the first time with this release for sure. So yeah, scenes with composer John Ottoman's original score. So you get a lot of really good special features here. It's just nothing new, and all of that stuff was present on the 2014 release. So I can understand you getting that and complaining you didn't get anything new, but I was pretty happy with the special features here. I was pretty happy with this release overall. I would say we are 2 for 2 so far in this set. And let's get to, that brings us to Resurrection, guys. Let's talk about Resurrection, like I said. And I laugh. I feel like I have to laugh when I talk about Resurrection, but let me be completely honest with you guys. I really don't hate this movie. And even when I watched it last night, I was like, this is It's not the best movie. It's not the best Halloween movie, but it's a half decent slasher. There's some decent kills. It's got a great cast. You got Katie Sackhoff in this movie. You got Busta Rhymes, of course. You got Sean Patrick Thomas. You got Tyra Banks. Jamie Lee Curtis is in this film for a little bit at the beginning. Thomas Ian Nichols, Rookie of the Year, American Pie. Like, the cast in this is really incredible. I would say outside of the lead actress, Bianca, I can't even pronounce her name, but the lead actress of the film, which I know from a sitcom she was in. I can't remember the name of the sitcom. Maybe somebody can name it down below, but she was in a sitcom that I actually really enjoyed. But yeah, and directed by Rick Rosenthal, who directed my favorite Halloween film, Halloween 2. So look, it's not the best movie. It does a lot of things wrong, like killing off Jamie Lee Curtis in the beginning. Just you shouldn't have done that. You should have had her come back and save the day and help him out at the end of this movie. That would have made it better. Like, put her in the spot of Busta Rhymes, I guess, at the end of this movie. You could still have Busta Rhymes in this movie, but put her in the spot of Busta at the end of the movie, and I think it would have made fans accept it a little bit more. But I like the fact that they killed her off, took it in a different direction. And yeah, I mean, Busta karate kicks him or whatever, but I mean, now you got freaking old no-name boy going in the cave and beating the shit out of him, taking his mask. Like, what do you all, Corey Cunningham. Everybody hates Corey Cunningham now. I don't. I thought Halloween Ends was okay. It was interesting, but, so are you really going to get mad at Busta karate kicking Michael out of a window anymore? I don't know. I don't think you can. And I forgot to mention it, but in H2O, you have Michelle Williams and Josh Hartnett kicking his ass at one point, so there's been plenty of people that's kicked Michael's ass over the years. It's his ability to get back up and fight back that counts. That really matters. But back to Resurrection, it was an interesting concept with the found footage stuff. You know, all that webcam series thing was coming into prominence. The internet was big, guys. You know, back in 2002, we were all able to get online and look stuff up, look information up. It was pretty cool. I remember that time. And then the web series thing, it was a cool concept. For the movie. So look, I mean, I don't love it. I'm not saying it's my favorite Halloween movie, but I don't think it's the worst slasher movie in the world. I think that Vinegar Syndrome has put out 500 movies that are worse, and Severin have put out 500 horror movies probably that are worse than Halloween Resurrection. It's just the fact that it's part of this prestigious, horror franchise that makes people hate it so much. But again, I don't have a big problem with it. I really don't have a big problem with it. I enjoy the film when I watch it. There's some cool kills in this movie. There's cooler kills than H2O for sure. I mean, the freaking girl gets her head chopped off at one point with a butcher knife. Like, how cool is that? There's some cool stuff that happens in this movie. I enjoy Resurrection. It's not the best in the world, but it's okay. It's fine. You know, it is what it is. But it's cool. It takes place back where it all started, in the Myers house. So let's get into the actual 4K transfer of this one. So I thought that Scream Factory did another incredible job with the 4K transfer of this. I thought there were several sequences and scenes that looked amazing in 4K. The only problem with this one is that you're going back and forth between that like found footage style and like the actual like cinematic quality. And it's a little jarring to go back and forth, and you can't really, I feel like the transfer never gets to gain any momentum throughout the movie. Like, you can never really like feel like you're getting the full effect of that proper 4K transfer with the HDR and Dolby Vision, because it keeps going back and forth. Not to say that the webcam stuff doesn't look good, better than it did in HD, but it can only look so good. It's a part of the movie. It's part of the aesthetic. It's part of the effect of the film itself. So that's the only bad thing I can say about the transfer. Other than that, it looked pretty great. That whole sequence at the end, and the stuff's catching on fire, and there's all the wires and sparks and stuff flying, and Busta's karate chopping and kicking and all that kind of stuff. And he freaking puts electric stuff up. I completely forgot about this. I think I blocked it out. He puts the electricity up to Michael Myers' nutsack at the end of the movie, and he falls back. It's so funny. But yeah, I think about this movie and I watch it and I laugh, and it's not the worst thing in the world. And I know that, some people really hate this movie, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But let me do an unboxing of this real quick. And like I said, it looked pretty good in 4K, sounds good. And they bring a lot more of the score, classic Halloween score back to this movie. I don't remember who composed this film. I don't know if it was Alan Hayworth or not. Let me look here. While you guys are just watching me, music, Halloween theme by John Carpenter, music by Danny Lux. Okay, so I think Danny Lux did the composing work in this one. I thought he did a good job. I felt like there was a lot more of the classic Halloween theme in this movie than there was in H2O. Like H2O barely has it at all, except for like when Laurie's walking with the axe, they start to play it. But yeah, so I thought you had the classic theme in this, and I thought it looked really good. And, you know, special features, you get a bunch of new special features in this one. Let me go through this. First off, these all have reversible cover art, and the reversible stuff is the original poster for all of them. But you get new interviews in this with production designer Troy Hansen, special effects artist Gary Tunnicliffe, let's see, stunt double Donna Keegan, and actor Sean Patrick Thomas and Gary Clayton. So I like the interview with Sean Patrick Thomas because you can just tell that he is such a nice guy. Like, because the entire interview, like, yeah, he's talking about his experience with the movie and making it, but he's also just putting over everybody that was in the movie with him. And I thought that that was super cool. How he just had such nice things to say about everybody in the movie and the director as well. So I thought that that was pretty cool. He just seemed like a really nice guy. And I thought it was cool that he came back to do the interview for this one. Would it have been cool if they got Busta to come do an interview? Of course it would have. I mean, it's Busta fucking Rhymes coming back to do an interview on Halloween Resurrection. That would have been incredible, but we didn't get it, and we didn't get it. And it's okay. So there's something like 5 or 6 new, interviews in this one. I know everybody was complaining that this was the only one to get new stuff, but I guess they didn't get a lot in the 2014 version, so that's why they felt like they needed to come back and do some good special features for this one. But yeah, new 4K scan on the Blu-ray, original camera negative, new 4K scan on the 4K as well. So look, overall, guys, I enjoyed this. This set. I'm not going to say it's worth it 100% for $104.99. But I will say I don't regret buying this. I really don't regret buying this. These covers are awesome. They're now a part of my complete Halloween collection in 4K, except for Rob Zombie's Halloweens, which I can live without those. I can live without them for now. I'll want them eventually, but for now. And look, I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I actually had a really good time rewatching all these in 4K. I thought Scream Factory did an excellent job on the transfers for all 3 of these movies. Well, 4 really, if you count 2 movies for Curse of Michael Myers. I like these a lot more than I did, though, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy I enjoyed my experience with this because I paid freaking $100 for those. So I'm happy I enjoyed them. But look, I appreciate it. The thing I'm happy about the most is the fact that you guys even watched this review. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Comment down below your thoughts on these movies. I'm sure you got some thoughts about them. Did you get them in yourself? Do you enjoy them like I do? Give me some positivity down there on these 3 films and tell me how much you enjoy them and tell me why you enjoy them in the comment section below. Then turn on the bell notifications. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.